What's going on, guys? Dino Gomez here, and I want to answer three of the most common questions that I receive from incredible visionaries just like yourself. Let's dive right into this. Number one, Dino, what happens if nobody buys? If I create a new offer, a new program, a new service, a new campaign, and nobody buys? We're going to cover that one in just a second. Dino, number two. Dino, what happens if I just completely fail? Then what? We're going to cover that question as well. We're going to go through the ins and outs, the mindset, into tackling these thought processes that are quite normal because you're human, and as human, what we do is we aim to our mammal brain is designed to protect us, so it will play what if scenarios. Generally speaking, like 99% of the time, it plays what if negative scenarios to make sure you're prepared for that emergency situation. But we're going to cover that one. What happens if nobody buys? What happens if I fail? And the other third big one I often hear is what happens if I run out of time? Let's tackle all of these. This short video here can perhaps completely change your perspective around this thought process that you might be experiencing and help you and allow you and position you to make the best decision for you. All right, there's no right or wrong decision here. I just want to inform you with a little bit of experience so that you can navigate this situation, this spot that you're in, to make, again, the best decision for you. So number one, Dino, what happens if nobody buys my new program, my new offer, my new course? Then what? Well, first and foremost, if nobody buys, realistically, probably absolutely nothing has changed in your life. All right, you're still breathing, you're still living, you have the same friends, the same family, the same health. Realistically, there's not much to lose if nobody buys in terms of your actual life. All right, perhaps you invested some time into trying to make it work, nobody bought. That's not a huge sacrifice, so there's very little to lose. But if we ask ourselves, what happens if, I don't know, 5 people buy, 10 people buy, they all buy, and this is the most exciting, impactful, purposeful, meaningful thing I've ever done in my life, and financially it's changing things for me and my family, then what happens? Well, the life changes massively in a positive way. And so the upside versus the downside, when we consider that question, what happens if nobody buys, it helps you realize that there's really not much to risk if nobody buys, which is great, which is awesome. So that's number one. What happens if nobody buys? And by the way, when nobody buys, I have flopped offers so many times, from workshops, from launching new programs, from doing different things. Nobody buys. And I'm a big believer that entrepreneurship, if I had to sum it up in one word, yeah, everybody has their own word for entrepreneurship. But my word for entrepreneurship is just adjustments. I think the whole name of the game is just you make adjustments. And so things always won't work out. Like, it's never going to work out 100% of the time, all the time. I do not care what the fairy with the people on the internet say in regards to promising that it's always perfect and glamorous. It just isn't. And I prefer to be a realist with you all. But it's not always going to work out perfectly. I've had Wi-Fi go down before. I've lost my clicker and my notes while presenting on stage in front of hundreds of people in a foreign country. I've had just anything that could go wrong. Fire alarm go off before in the middle of presentations. Just you name it. Funnels go down when I'm teaching a course on how to build funnels. It's all happened, and it, the name of the game is just, okay, what can I do in the situation? It's a game of adjustments. And so if it doesn't work out, if nobody buys, my favorite thing to do, because again, I've flopped so many offers before, my favorite thing to do is to ask people, why didn't you buy? Is there anything that you would have needed to have seen in the offer to make it so that you would then buy? And people are very friendly, very forgiving. They go, yeah, I loved your workshop, or I like your trainings, I like your videos, I like your content. It was just missing this one piece. Or it was always there. They might say, I just didn't understand the way you explained it. And maybe you're just presenting your offer wrong. Oftentimes you can have the best offer in the world, but the presentation isn't phenomenal. And so people don't even understand the value that you have. And that's a whole nother discussion. There's offers, and then there's offer presentation. But if nobody buys, there's not much to lose. You just ask your audience, what went wrong? What would you like to see? And then you make the adjustments and you come back and you go, cool, I fixed it. Now are you interested? And oftentimes there's sales waiting for you there. So nobody buys, not a big deal. Dino, what happens if I fail? It's kind of the same concept as if nobody buys. There's very, very little to actually lose in terms of health, family, friends, fun, relationships, lifestyle. Very little to lose, a ton to gain. And so that's the way I look at it. Is I used to be afraid, and I used to have all those ideas float through my head. What if nobody buys? What if I look like a failure? And let's talk about that one a lot, because perception from friends and family is massive. Like, I don't want to post on social media. What will my friends think? What will my family think? What if people think I'm coming off as salesy, needy, pushy? The best way to get past what will other people think is to ask yourself, how much do I care about what other people are doing? Like, and the easiest example I can give is, I think everybody here has that one friend, family member, acquaintance, previous coworker that's in real estate. And the realtors are so good at self promotion. They're always talking about their open houses, their listings that recently sold, what the market is doing. And ask yourself, am I still friends with the individual who is a realtor now? And given that you see their content on social media, they're talking about the real estate market, and realistically, you're probably still friends with them. It's not like you suddenly hate them. Maybe you don't hit the like button on all of their content, but them promoting themselves, their business, talking about real estate, it hasn't changed your relationship with them. And simultaneously, when you start talking about your coaching, consulting business, your small business, your service based business, your online business, your friends and family, it's not going to change the relationship they have with you. If anything, they're going to be like, that's awesome. They now know what you do. They might even refer you customers and clients now, because it's very clear to them what you actually do. They're busy as well. They can't keep track of every family member and every friend and what they're up to professionally. As soon as you start posting, your friends and family can actually come to support you. And doesn't mean they will like every single post, every single thing that you do, but now at least they know what you do professionally. So the next time they bump into a lead, they can say, hey, let me introduce you to Dino. I don't know what he does. He's always just talking about internet marketing, and occasionally I hit the like button for him. And that's really the way it works. And so ask yourself that question. Has anybody talking about their business, has it changed your perception of them in terms of your friendship or the way you're a family member to them? And if it has, then realistically, you probably need to do some inner work with why you are so concerned with somebody aiming to grow their own business, their own practice, or otherwise just talking about what they're doing professionally in corporate. Why is that so bothersome to you? If that's bothersome to you, it would make sense you have resistance about talking about your own stuff. But realistically, why would that bother you, right? You can scroll right past it in a millisecond on the news feed. It doesn't have to bother you. And so if you're losing sleep over what others are doing, that's probably where the resistance is coming from in regards to you self-promoting yourself and aiming and keeping the focus around the clients you want to serve and impact. And so that's another little like side tangent there to help you get past being concerned with others. Instead, ask yourself, try it out for a week. Ask yourself for a week, how can I be super supportive of all of my friends and family and everybody I see on social media, especially when they're talking about what they're doing professionally? And if you start to have that mindset, how can I support all of those closest to me in their career? Watch how the resistance to promote your stuff immediately goes down. Really, really cool thing. All right. So side tangent there around caring what other people think. Third one, Dino, what happens if I run out of time? Great question. Great question. You're probably busy, you probably have a family, significant other, all the things. The kids are young, they're running all over the place. Who knows what's going on with the dog and the cat? They're doing something. And there's fur everywhere. I get it. What happens if you run out of time? Great question. Well, first off, if your launch and program and business is successful, magically the time appears, right? And you get creative because you start looking at what's not worth my time anymore. And so suddenly, if you launch a new offer, you raise your prices, business is flying, you're like, I'm worried about running out of time. Well, suddenly you have extra income. And so you have options. Maybe food is delivered to us. Maybe I talk with the significant other about them handling XYZ this week or for the month while I launch this program, because it's going to bring us this amount of additional income. And we swap on different things that we do with the family and so forth. You get really creative when you have the extra resources, because you have the extra resources. So you can invest it to buy back your time and do other things. And so realistically, time is easily allocated when things are going super, super well for you and you have something that's working for you in that regard. And so I wouldn't be as concerned about am I going to run out of time and what to do in that situation. Instead, what I would do um, is I would ask yourself this question: can you get yourself to a mindset where, regardless of the results, you're happy you did it? All right. And so, in other words, there are some days where I love working out. I'm super motivated. I slept well. I can't wait to get to the gym or get to the mountain to hike. And there are other days where I'm not in the mood, but I always decide before I go that it's going to be worth it, regardless of if it's painful while I'm working out and I'm struggling, or whether I'm just cruising because it's my day and everything feels good and the music's, my favorite playlist is on at the gym. I decide, nope, it's worth it. It's going to be good. And so regardless of the outcome of the experience, I have a great time and it becomes worth it. And so if you can get yourself to that state, ask yourself, can I position myself to make a decision for my business or for my purpose, for my passion, for my project, so that regardless of the outcome, it's a blast. If you just decide it's going to be fun, be worth it from the start, there's less pressure on you to make sure it ends up at a certain metric or at a certain number and so forth. Instead, you can enjoy the journey, and you already know, regardless of the outcome, that it was worth it. And then what ends up happening because of that is you end up normally doing much better, because there's something, that energy is picked up. It's not needy, it's not salesy, it's not pushy. Everything you're doing is just, hey, I'm having a blast doing this and I don't care what the outcome is. That's a very freedom based energy, and people pick up on that, which is very cool. So a couple questions for you guys there. I hope this was helpful. If you guys want more trainings, more details around how we can potentially work together and take you to the next level, whatever it is you're working on, see if we're a right fit. Not a right fit for everybody, it'll be straightforward, but beneath this video there's probably going to be a button, a link. You can get more information to see about what we're doing with our clients and so forth. If you have questions, always feel free to reach out. But I hope this was helpful. Sit with this for a little bit, let it marinate. Some of these concepts, when you sit down and you really analyze it and you go deep, because we're so busy, we don't spend time thinking about the thing we're thinking about and if it's actually logical or makes sense. But when you spend time with it, you might, if it's a fit for you, you might go, okay, cool, that resonates with me. And I hope it does. But I hope this was helpful either way. Thanks, guys.